a smile, but we always laughed about the wins that Elmore got because he was the best scheduler in the area. 25 wins a year, he played everybody that thought he could win. But it was so much fun being around both those guys. Fellow inductees, it's an honor to be up here with you. What great talent there is here. Beverly, I can remember my first year in coaching, Beverly was getting out of high school. You probably paved the way for women's athletics. I said that, but you really were. Did Robert coach you? You made Robert a Hall of Fame member then. And of course, Robert had some more. But also, I'd like to thank the committee, including my friend Brad, fraternity brother, who's been like a real brother to me for many, many years, and on Leroy. And let me say something about this guy right here. When I first got in coaching, my goal is for Jerry Knight. I want him to know my name. And if I felt like that Jerry Knight knew my name, that I might be somebody one of these days, because this is the best that the shows has ever had right here when it comes to broadcast. I remember going home after Don would send us all, we'd go to the coach's breakfast, and that was a big thing, and Jerry had that thing, and I went home and I said, God, Jerry Knight knows my name. So that was a big deal for me. I want to recognize some people here tonight, my family, my sister Laura and her husband Randy, my sister Janice, her husband Bobby, two of the best kids a man could ever have. My daughter Hannah, who is going to graduate from the University of Alabama in 2 weeks, thank God. Seeking employment, if anybody wants to talk to her afterwards, I'll have a booth over in the corner. The best coach in the family, my son Brett, who's the offensive line coach at Florence High School, was a tremendous player in North Alabama, and Hannah understands this. Brett's my best friend in the whole world. And we talk every day, and not a day goes by that we don't talk, and I love both my children tremendously. I'd like to thank their mother, Connie. Connie was part of my life for 23 years. It was a major reason while I'm up here. She contributed greatly to it, and I appreciate the things that she did for me. To all our players, and let me go, I'm getting ahead of myself. A special thanks to Dr. John Landers, who's in attendance tonight. Dr. Landers gave me the opportunity to come back to Colbert County High School as the AD and head football coach in 2002, and it was a dream of mine to come back, and to Dr. Frida Daly for giving me the opportunity. Other administrators that I've had the opportunity to work with. Some of you older people may remember Marshall Newman. Marshall gave me my first job, and Don was very instrumental in getting that obviously for me. But Mr. Newman was classic, and Brad knows Mr. Newman for days, and he gave me my first job along with Bobby McKinney, who's in the Hall of Fame, and I've just had a real fortunate to work for a lot of great administrators over the years. To all the players and assistant coaches that I've had the opportunity to work with, Steve Stewart's in here. Steve and I work together some. My son Brett and other people in the room that I've come in contact with. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your life, and you've definitely been a part of my life. Two people that I'd be remiss if I didn't spend a little time on, and you just got to bear with me. Two extremely different people in the whole world. First one's Arthur Andrews. Some of the older people that may remember, Arthur was such a character. Arthur came into my life when I was 9 years old. And I was a strong little kid, Muscle Shoals in his direction, and he drafted me in Little League Baseball at Muscle Shoals and practically helped raise me. And I ended up being the best man at my wedding. I worked with him for 9 years at Colbert County as an assistant coach. I'd be lying to say there were nights he just embarrassed the dog mess out of me. Because Arthur could cut up on the sidelines like you never believe. And he was such an entertainer, but yet he was such a great basketball coach too. He won a state championship at Colbert County, and he was just so unique. One day he would run very, very hot. You were just so glad to be around him. The next day he was very, very cold. You just wanted to kill him. But he was Mickey Haddock's in this room, and Mickey refereed a lot of the games for Arthur. When he walked in the door, Arthur was going to get after you. And that, not the players, you got them, but he was going to get after those officials. Y'all remember Arthur? Many people remember Arthur? Arthur, he hated referees. He's coaching the American Christian Academy right before he died. And Stephen Hook is the headmaster of the school and also the head football coach. And he told Arthur one night, he said, Arthur, you've got to ease up these referees. You're going to have to ease up on them. So I don't have to. He said, what are you going to do when you get to heaven and you walk in the pearly gates and there's one of them sitting there? And Arthur thought about it for a minute. He said, I really don't expect to see them there. He just hated referees with that. He said another word, but I sort of cleaned it up. It starts with this and ends with this, but you can imagine what he said. But When I went back to Colbert County in 2002, and 11 years, I got some extended family in here, the Kraft family, the Burdens, and the Underwoods, and all kind of people that have been great to me over the years, the 16 years I spent at that school. But when I went back there in 2002, it was an absolute dream job for me. When I left there in 1990, I left with the intentions of coming back to that school one day. And when I walked in, Dr. Landers, you know, like I said, gave me the opportunity to come back in, Dr. Daly, and you just can't imagine the sense of pride that came over me to come back to that school. Because I tell you guys, I love that place. I love it with all of my heart. And when I came back, Lee Kraft's in the room, Coach Lee, and also the coach for me, we proceeded to start renovating the building and changing some things and modernizing a little bit. Well, we had a little dressing room in there that when I was there as assistant coach, it was our coach's offices. Well, and we had 4 little closets, and those were our lockers. And we still had those closets, and so I took that closet, and the first thing I did, I put name tape on all the coaches' lockers, Kraft, Lockett, whoever was there, I can't remember, Brown, whatever. And on the head coach's locker, the first thing I put up there was CT Manning. The next thing I put up there was Don Creasy. The next thing I put up there was Jimmy Moore. And the next thing I put up there was my name. And I did that for a reason, because I understood the tremendous responsibility that it took on my part to try to come close to accomplishing what those guys had accomplished. And I still haven't done that. Those are 3 great coaches. And I will tell you, I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, the best coach in my mind, and will always be in my heart, is Don Creasy. Everything I've done in coaching, I've patterned after him, and he's taught me so much about life. And first time he ever sent me out to scout, Arthur got me out there in '79, and we were really good that year. They were really good. I put on a white shirt, a pair of black pants, and called myself a coach, and all I did was stand around and didn't do anything. But Don needed somebody to go scout, so he sent me somewhere and gave me $6 for gas and $1.50 for a coconut moon pie. Told me that back then we didn't have a lot of tape like we do now, so he said, "Go scout." Well, I'm scared to death, so I go scout. So I can't remember who I go see, whatever. I come back in, and I hand him a scout report. And he just looks at it. He looks at it. He said, "Who's on offense and who's on defense?" Because in football, you know, X's and O's. I put X's on both sides of the ball. He couldn't figure out what I was doing. But that's how green I was. And, you know, for 11 years, wow. He taught me so much. And I love him for it. He's my hero. And I appreciate you. But in closing, I told you I was a girl, and I'm going to stop before I go too far with a girl. One more story, and I promise I'll shut up. You know, as a coach, and Bill said it best about your kids, I got to coach Brett. Hannah was great in drama and art, and thank God, she was a very good athlete. She was great in drama and art, and tremendously talented in journalism. Brett was a senior at UNA, and they were playing they were playing Southwest Missouri State. And Brett was a senior, and they went for it on 4th and 6 inches in the semifinals, and they got beat, didn't make it. And about 30 seconds to go in the game, ended up being a little brawl out in the middle field. And I know Greg remembers that. And UNA's players rushed off the field, and Southwest Missouri's players went off the other field. And there were about 3 or 4 UNA guys that stayed out there. And I didn't see this. But they finally separated the kids and went on out. Well, I'm out there and I'm boo-hooing like crazy. It's Brett's last game. I've enjoyed him so much. Well, he comes out of the dressing room, and Jeff McIntyre grabbed him from Times Daily. He said, "Brett, I noticed at the end of the game, you and one or 2 other players were still out there shaking hands. What was your thinking?" And Brett looked at me and said, "Because that's what he taught me to do." That's the best compliment I've ever had. Thank you.